Hello. In this video, we will see how to fill out the corporate tax declaration on a simple example. Let us briefly mention the taxpayers who are obliged. Corporate taxpayers: capital companies, limited capital corporations divided into capital shares and similar foreign institutions. Funds subject to CMB regulation and auditing, and foreign funds similar to these funds. Cooperatives: economic public institutions, economic enterprises for associations and foundations. Economic partnerships of economic public institutions and associations or foundations, to be owned by or connected to public administrations or public. After we have an idea about these taxpayers, we try to explain the concepts of full and limited taxpayers with a sentence. Full, limited obligation in corporate tax institutions having legal center or the business center in Turkey are full and are taxed on all the income they receive in foreign countries as well as in Turkey. Limited taxpayers have both the legal and business centers outside Turkey. If a foreign determination of the net corporation profit. Corporate tax is calculated on the basis of corporate income earned by corporate taxpayers within an accounting period. Net corporation profit is the net earnings resulting from the deduction in the determination of the corporate income. Taxpayers may deduct the expenses described in detail below. The first, general expenses for acquiring and maintaining commercial earnings. The general expenses are not defined in tax laws, and they are the expenses that are required to be carried out directly for the activities related to the operation activities and to have the earnings. As an example of these expenses are rent, heating, lighting, stationery, advertising. The second one is lump sum expenses. Lump sum expenses application. In accordance with the provisions of the GVK, the taxpayers who perform export, overseas construction, repair, installation and transportation activities in addition to the related expenses, may deduct the expenses they have calculated as lump sum expenses from the proceeds in return for their expenses related. The third deductible expense, cost of subsistence and lodging in servants' and workers' workplaces or at the premises of the workplace, treatment and drug expenses, insurance premiums, retirement fees and clothing, losses, damages and indemnities paid in relation to the contract, travel and residence expenses in accordance with the importance of the work, expenses of vehicles bought or rented for business. The same taxes, duties and charges such as building, Amortization kept according to the tax code provision. Dues paid to unions in accordance with employers' unions law provisions. Contributions paid on behalf of employees to pension system share by employers. Cost of food, cleaning, food and fuel donations donated to charities and foundations in food banking activities. Amounts actually paid to the beneficiaries of the on-the-job training. Expenses not to be removed from the revenue, late fee and interest rates arising from violations of the provisions of the law. Interest paid or calculated over equity, calculated corporate tax. All kinds of fines and tax penalties and late fees. Marine and aircraft expenses not related to the main activity. Material and moral compensation expenses arising from the crime. Indemnities paid for the acts committed through the press. 50% of all advertising and advertising expenses of alcohol and alcohol beverages, tobacco and tobacco products. The portion of the commission decided by the Council of Ministers in order not to exceed 10% of the total of the cost and cost items under titles such as interest, commission, interest difference, profit share, exchange rate difference and so on related to the foreign resources used in the business. Expenses discounts to be done from the declaration, loss deduction, other discounts, mainly R&D discount, sponsorship expenditures, donations and grants, venture capital fund discount. Discount related to the earnings from services provided from Turkey to individuals and institutions abroad, protected workplace discount, discount on capital increase, techno venture capital support. Principle of statement and submitting a declaration. Each taxpayer will give a declaration for the entire taxable profit. There will be no separate declarations for the branches of the taxpayers, even if they are independent accounts and reserved capital for the offices of agents of bureaus, or directly related shops. In accordance with the corporate tax law, the declaration must be submitted from the 1st to the 25th day of the 4th month following the closing of the accounting period. The institutions that have a special accounting period are obliged to submit it. Place of declaration. The corporate tax return must be given to the tax office of the taxpayer. The responsible tax office is the tax office of the institution. Now let's focus on the profits and activities that make up the corporate earnings. The first one is commercial profit. Second one is the profit derived from agricultural businesses. Self-employment earnings. Movable and immovable property and rights to the revenues obtained in Turkey. We can go to the regulation of the declaration now. This is a sample of the corp. Before filling in the corporate tax declaration, the financial statements must be prepared. The first of the financial statements is the income statement. In order to fill out our declaration, the first required table is income statement. When we examine the income statement on the aforementioned companies, we see that the gross sales amount is 582,777.77 teraliters, and then we see domestic sales, other sales, sales discounts, sales returns, and subsequent net sales. As a result of these calculations, after our income statement, let's focus on our other financial statement attached to the Declaration of Institutions. It is financial statement. We also examine the balance sheet items, here cash, bank and other assets within liabilities, short-term liabilities, financial liabilities, bank loans, commercial debts. Vendors receive deposits and guarantees. Other debts such as payables to personnel are listed. We should also check that our assets and liabilities are in balance. Passive sum is 2.498.38.